TV របស់ខ្មែរ
5 EBI FM 103.1 MHz.
Good afternoon, Brad. Welcome to the Khmer program on 5 EBI.
Thanks, Dara.
Now, you and I, we've known each other for like a number of years, I think about 2 to 3 years, 3 years?
Yeah, about 3 years, I think.
Yeah, about 3 years. And because we're friends on Facebook as well.
Yeah, yes.
And I've been following your very active with been very active with your Welcome to Australia. So please tell our listeners what is Welcome to Australia.
Welcome to Australia is an organisation that aims to help new arrivals feel welcome in Australia. So we work especially with asylum seekers, refugees, but also all new arrivals. And really we want to create communities of welcome where no matter who you are, where you've come from or how you arrived here, that you can feel a sense of belonging and feel like you're a part of the community.
So what sort of what other organisation are you in partnership with, and when do you need to work together with other organisations?
Well, we work with many different organisations, unions and other refugee service organisations, people that help new Australians to settle. But also we do a lot with famous Australians to try and change the media conversation around asylum seekers and refugees. So we have ambassadors that work with us, like the Wiggles and Missy Higgins, AFL players, and then a whole bunch of politicians from all different political parties as well work with us to try and make a more positive conversation about multiculturalism and asylum seekers and refugees in Australia.
Okay. Does your organisation provide service with legal matters in terms of...
Well, we have a welcome centre here in Adelaide that provides things like English lessons and furniture and other support for people that are doing it tough. And we also have people that are just about to come and work in our centre to do free legal advice and that kind of thing as well.
Okay. And how many centres do you have around Adelaide or around Australia itself?
Well, we have 8 branches around Australia of our Welcome to Australia movement, and there's a welcome centre here in Adelaide and there's another one about to open in Newcastle.
Oh, okay.
So the rest are kind of volunteer groups that do certain elements of our work in the community, and just here and in Newcastle we'll have physical places at the moment. Okay. But all around Adelaide at the moment, a few other centres are taking hold of some of our programs, especially our English classes, and the unique ways in which we do some of those, and are duplicating them around Adelaide as well. Okay.
I know there's probably a number of Cambodians actually seeking asylum as well. So I know probably most of them are located up north. Okay. So where's the best centre for them to, if they want to get involved with your organisation?
To come here at Bowden, 100 Drayton Street, Bowden. It's open between 10 and 4 on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Okay. And there are also, every second Thursday night, we have a community dinner where anyone's welcome to come and share dinner with other, some of our volunteers, members of the community, other asylum seekers, new Australians. We have about 100 people come and have dinner every fortnight and make new friends, get to know each other. It's on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, and that's a great way of getting to know people as well.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah. Now, so let's talk a bit about your involvement with politics, and I know you've been very active as well with the Mr. J. Federal office. So how's that going?
How's it going?
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh well, he won the election and he's still the Premier, and so that's fantastic. I went to work for the Premier as a community engagement advisor for a few months before the election, It was a great privilege to work in his office and to see him do his job, and to be a part of the election victory was really exciting and a great opportunity.
Yeah. So, because you're actually running, is the connection, if there any connection with the politics itself, like because you're running the Welcome to Australia Centre, so you actually focus on giving assistance to asylum seekers. So how important to have a good relationship or with influential politicians within the government itself?
So we have, there's two ways we work. With the state government here in South Australia, we have a great relationship. I also work with the opposition. We have Jing Lee, MLC from the Liberal Party, who's one of our ambassadors, as well as a number of the independents, Kelly Vincent, some number of the Greens as well. So we've got a great relationship with all sides of politics. And then federally, we also have I think about 15 federal sitting MPs and senators who are ambassadors for us at the moment. Really, that's important to us because rather than creating more divisions based on disagreements about policy or values, we like to try and build relationships with the people that can make a real difference, the ones that have the power to make change. So we look for people that we can have shared values with, common vision for a better Australia, who share our belief that a welcoming, compassionate Australia is better than a cruel and fearful one. And we work with them as closely as we can to try and create change, both in the nature of the debate about asylum seekers, but also in the policies and practices that affect their lives. A great example of this is here in South Australia was the Premier giving people on bridging visas concessions for public transport usage. So people on bridging visas live off 89% of a Centrelink allowance that an equivalent citizen would get. Out of that, they have to pay for their rent, their food, their clothing, everything that it means to live. And yet, even though they were receiving such a small amount of money, they were paying full prices to ride a bus or a train. And so we worked with the state government to extend transport concessions to that group of people, which makes a huge difference to their life.
So how this is a question regarding the immigration policy itself. So how do you see Mr. Abbott's immigration policy with the Mr. Scott Morrison as a immigration minister? How do you see the policy?
Well, we can see that he is using a humanitarian situation, people fleeing to Australia from various war-torn countries, to make political advantage out of that. And in the process, he's treating people with cruelty in our detention centres. But also, I think what's become really apparent over the last few weeks is the secrecy and the inability for Australians to even find out what's going on. The two boats that arrived from Sri Lanka in the last week or so are now disappeared. No one knows what's happened. There's 37 children on one of those boats, and this is not only basic cruelty, it's also against international laws, it's against the many conventions on the rights of the child and the rights of refugees that Australia is a signatory to. It's just not behaviour that is becoming of a modern, fair society. And so, we acknowledge that this is a complex area of policy, that there's no easy solution that fixes the asylum seeker situation. But there are ways that we can debate and communicate and talk that are not designed to increase fear in the Australian population of newcomers. And also we've created a situation where, to show leadership, these people are showing how cruel they can be, how harsh they can be on Australia's most vulnerable people and the world's most vulnerable people. We see that in the budget, in relation to some of the unemployed and disabled people. in the way that the budget is weighted in favour of the wealthy rather than the vulnerable. But in the asylum seeker debate, this is most apparent. Scott Morrison is trying to show what a strong leader he is by how firm, how cruel he can be to the world's most vulnerable people.
So if you were to become a immigration minister, how would you tackle? Would you be more compassionate towards these asylum seekers?
I think the first thing, before we discuss policy, the first thing is to talk about the issue like we are talking about real people. To recognise that no matter what policy we put in place, we are dealing with women, children, men who have the same hopes and dreams as you and I do, and that whatever solution we put in place should first recognise their humanity, their dignity, and be focused on amplifying their dignity and protecting their rights as the first priority. This is a priority not just because those people need safety and protection, but also for our own character, who we are as Australians. Are we cruel? Are we harsh people? Are we unwelcoming? Are we fearful of the newcomer? Are we people that rob the poor of the justice and fairness that they deserve? Are we people that take away people's dignity so that we can win elections? They're important questions that then provide the basis to build better policy. Some of the policy things I would do immediately would be to open up the transparency of our detention centres, both here and offshore. Something simple like allowing the Human Rights Commissioner unfettered access to all of the centres would change the way that they're run immediately. This is not saying that I believe all of the centres should exist. I'm just saying there are simple things any minister focused on human decency could do to improve the daily lives of asylum seekers right now. It wouldn't mean dismantling the whole system. It would mean here's a simple way of making life better for people by having transparency on the places that they are forced to reside. Another thing would be having legislated processing times. If it meant, when you're fleeing a war zone, you can probably handle living in a terrible place for a short period of time if you know that there is a way that you're going to be free at some point in the future. It's this unknowing, this limbo, this lack of communication about the process and what's going to happen to these people that is really mentally debilitating and damaging to their mental health.
Now, just still on the question of the immigration policy itself, Australia recently has turned to Cambodia for sending some of the asylum seekers to Cambodia.
Yeah.
How do you see that? Do you think it's a policy of a quick fix? Because Australia they know how Mr. Hun Sen's government, how he treats the people of Cambodia. There's no human rights. Yeah. And there's still a political deadlock in Cambodia. So how do you see that policy?
Well, it's a very similar attitude we see from the Australian government towards the Sri Lankan government. It's they're under investigation for human rights abuses, and yet the Australian government is happy to say it's a peaceful place, that we can send the very people fleeing from that government back to them safely. And it's a real just denial of the facts, and the same happens in our relationship with Cambodia. I think the Australian government wants to help Cambodia develop and all of that kind of stuff, and that's important, but you can't do that at the expense of ignoring the blatant human rights abuses that happen in Cambodia all the time. And I go to Cambodia most years. I've got friends that live in the community there, and I've seen in their daily lives the way the rule of law is really absent. There's no way for them to protect their possessions or livelihood or even physical well-being if the powerful people decide to do something to them. This is not a place to go and place asylum seekers who will then face potentially discrimination, potentially seen as, having advantages that normal Khmer people don't have. A range of issues like that. It's a bad idea, a bad plan, and definitely a quick fix.
Yeah. Now, let's talk a bit about your project in Cambodia. What project do you currently undertaking in Cambodia at the moment, or how many years have you been running the project in Cambodia?
So I've been visiting Cambodia myself for 7 years now. I think I've been 5 times, and one of the main things that we do there through my role as the pastor of Activate Community is we're working with a local village in Kingsway district in Kandal province to build a school for the stateless Vietnamese community that lives there, that we spend some time with and realise they don't have access to health services or education services or a whole range of things that would help them live fruitful, productive lives. And so we work with our friends there to support that school, to teach the students Khmer as well as Vietnamese so that they can better integrate into the wider community. We also have a range of other partnerships in Cambodia. We run a youth conference designed to raise up young leaders in Cambodia, and we work with World Vision on some projects in Stungman Chai district as well.
So how many people actually, because you are the main person of the project, and how many other people actually assisting you from,
it's different
from
each,
here or Cambodia?
Yeah, in Cambodia we work with a local church community in Kingsfade district, in Stav Kan Lang village, and so the pastor there and a bunch of his associates work with us. Here in Adelaide, each year I take a team over. Some years that's been up to 15 people, other years it's been 3 or 4. But based in Adelaide, a lot of people send money and support and are friends through Facebook and email and Skype with our friends in Cambodia. So what we've tried to do is make it a real two-way relationship where we are simply friends with the people in that community and ask them how we can support the next phase of their development and life. And so when we go, we stay in their homes, we hang out, have lunch, have fun and play sport and muck around. It's not all how do we come and fix everything. It's how do we build friendship with you guys.
And where do you get funding from to do this?
Just donations from people in our Activate community and beyond. There's also a basketball program we run which is called Hoop Stars, and that raises about $1,000 a year. That helps us. So we're building basketball courts next to the school at the moment, which are being funded by Hoop Stars. There'll be multi-purpose courts for volleyball and badminton and anything else that wants to be they want to be used for. And we're heading back over in January to see the progress of all of that.
January next
January
year.
coming up, yeah.
And how many people you
I think we'll have 6 this time.
6 this time,
yeah.
Right, okay. That's good, yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Anyway, Brad, thank you for your time today.
No worries, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
TV របស់ខ្មែរ